If you were an investor and you're planning on investing $10,000 and turning it into $10 million, then this video is for you. Even though he is now worth $1 billion, Warren Buffett's first stock investment was made when he was only 11 years old and cost him less than $120. When the price of a share of City Services preferred stock was around $38, Buffett invested in 3 shares. Since then, he has climbed the corporate ladder to become the CEO of a firm with a market cap of over $6 billion and a personal fortune of over $100 billion. An essential lesson from his story is that you don't need $1 billion to begin investing like Buffett. A few $100s or a few $1,000s in savings is all you need to get going. This is Investing Path, and for today's video, we will be listening to Buffett's explanation of how he would invest $10,000 in his investment portfolio. But before we begin, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe, and hit the bell button as well for more of our videos. Now, let's get started. According to Warren Buffett, when Charlie has always said the most important part is that we begin constructing this small snowball at the top of a really steep slope. Because compound interest acts like a snowball of sticky snow, we began early and have been rolling it downhill ever since. Having a long hill requires either a head start or a lengthy lifespan. If Buffett starts working in the investment realm, then he'd use the same approach. He added that if he graduated from college today with $10,000 to invest, he'd jump right into researching firms, with a bias towards smaller ones given the limited resources available to him. As Charlie has already mentioned, it won't be like doing that in 1951, when you could leap through and find all kinds of stuff, so there's a greater risk of missing something in that domain. Stocks are the small pieces of a company you purchase, and you should only do so if they are reasonably priced and represent a solid investment. That investment guidance will still hold in a century. The importance of compound interest is highlighted by treating compound interest as the 8th wonder of the world, and Warren Buffett's life and career are enough evidence of the incredible power of compound interest. After waiting until he was in his 50s, Buffett became a millionaire. Since he was 24 years old, Warren Buffett has been a brilliant investor, which is beyond dispute. But a large chunk of Warren Buffett's riches and fame comes from the fact that he has kept investing well into his 90s. See the power of compound interest in action with this chart showing Warren Buffett's wealth over time. Buffett's net wealth increased from $1.4 billion at age 56 to $3.8 billion when he was 59 years old, a gain of $2.4 billion. His wealth climbed by roughly $4 billion yearly over those 8 years. In this way, compound interest generates exponential rather than linear increases in wealth. Both the length of time and the rate of return play a role in how significantly your investment grows, thanks to compound interest. Maximizing both is the key to real wealth creation. For this reason, starting early is a key component of Warren Buffett's advice for growing a $10,000 portfolio. The initial $450,000 investment climbs to about $1.2 million. But if you aren't a child anymore, don't feel bad about yourself. The primary consideration should be to initiate the process as soon as possible. Your annual return is another factor that will affect the growth of your portfolio. Say Jack increased his average yearly return to 12% from 10%. You might assume that 2 percentage points wouldn't make much difference, but they do. For example, a portfolio increases to $930,000, doubling its size with a 10% return. Thanks to the 12% growth, raise the rate of return to 15% each year and see what occurs. Almost $2.7 million has been added to the portfolio's worth. Learning that even a seemingly insignificant variation in annual returns can dramatically affect the final value of your investment portfolio came as a shock to me. Meanwhile, Buffett also has something to say about increasing your profits. In numerous interviews, Buffett has claimed that he could get annual returns of 50% or higher if he only had $1 billion to invest. Do you recall how much impact the yearly returns of 10, 12, and 15% had in our compound interest example? If you could grow your money by 50% annually, just think how quickly it would expand. Warren Buffett believes that if he made one fundamental adjustment to his investment strategy, he could get the same phenomenally high rates of return. Smaller businesses would be his main target. The question you may be asking is why we should care about tiny businesses. The astonishingly simple reason is that fewer people are paying attention to them. Finding severely undervalued firms is crucial to reap substantial rewards as an investor. More institutional and individual investors pay attention to a company as it grows, and the chances of a firm getting grossly undervalued fall in proportion to the number of individuals following it. When you put it like that, it makes perfect sense. Consider this. You're in the market to buy a home or rent an apartment, and you go up to view a listing only to find that 1,000 other individuals have done the same thing. Can you give us an idea of how likely you will obtain a reasonable price? In light of the heightened competition, not exceptionally high. That's not too unlike the situation where you went up at the same property but found that you were the only potential buyer because the owner forgot to advertise it. How likely do you think you'll find a reasonable price? Much more than if you were up against 1,000 other competitors. It is the same idea and can be applied to the stock market. Generally speaking, you should focus on stocks that aren't widely followed and have little media coverage. These are often much smaller businesses. Meanwhile, Peter Lynch, a well-known investor, has also discussed the benefit of putting money into smaller businesses. Growth is typically easier for smaller businesses than it is for larger ones. For Peter Lynch, it was like this. Among two companies, one earns $20 million annually, and the other $20 billion, which would find it easier to increase its annual profit by a factor of 10. It is likely to be considerably easier for the pioneering firm to double its yearly earnings from $20 million to $2 billion. An organization can run out of potential clients once there are fewer people in the world who are willing to buy their goods. Because of this, it is tough for extremely huge stocks to expand at the same rate as more modest ones. You could think, okay, this all makes sense, but how do I locate nimbler businesses? We've got the perfect answer for you. It is called a stock screen. A screener is a tool that may be used to categorize businesses according to several factors. The size of the company is one of the searchable criteria. Using the stock screener, we discovered online, you can narrow your search to only those businesses within a specified market cap range. In this case, we limited the focus to companies with a market capitalization of $50 million to $500 million. This filter has given us a list of businesses whose sizes fall within the specified parameters. We can skim the list in search of names that catch my eye and click on them to learn more about them. Extra filtering options include price-earning ratio considerations. To illustrate, let us say we are interested in stocks with a P/E ratio of more than 1 but less than 10. We put the threshold at more than 1 to filter out companies that are losing money and would have a negative P/E ratio. We now have a more refined list of potential businesses to approach. It is possible that these businesses are undervalued since they are both tiny and relatively unknown. If we were looking for equities to invest in, we would follow these steps. First, we would scan this list until we discovered anything interesting, and only then we would start looking into this topic for this particular talk. And that concludes today's video. Thanks for watching. This is Investing Path, and if you have any thoughts to share about this one, then feel free to share them in the comment section below, and we'd be more than glad to join in the discussion. While you're at it, please click the like, subscribe, and bell buttons as well to see more of our personal investment and financing content. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.